On the night of June 15th in Northeast Ohio, a tragic event shocked the community. A member of a family bluegrass band murdered his mother and younger brother before attempting to take his own life. The family, known for their strong religious beliefs, lived in an environment where television, video games, and any outside influences were forbidden. The children did not attend school, had little social contact and few friendships or relationships. Immediately there was speculation that the strict environment may have triggered the attack, or that behind the perfect facade of the home lay a much darker and disturbing truth. The chilling details of the Stockdale case reveal how a deep darkness can hide under the guise of a seemingly happy family. This case shows how pent-up tension and conflict can build up over time until it triggers an explosion. Tim and Kathy Stockdale wanted their children to grow up with strong, healthy Christian values. They believed the best way to accomplish this was to isolate the family. So they decided to move to a remote farm in Beach City, Ohio, where they raised their 4 children away from their beliefs and bad influences. Kathy, the children's mother, imposed extremely strict discipline. From an early age, the Stockdale family's 4 children were assigned household chores to perform daily. To motivate them, a reward system was implemented in which each completed chore earned them tokens, which were recorded on a chart. When enough tokens were accumulated, the children could exchange them for small recreational privileges. For example, they needed 20 tokens to be able to listen to a family-friendly radio program. Music became the family's refuge, and they formed a successful bluegrass band. From a very young age, the sons showed great musical talent, especially Jacob, who stood out as a fiddle prodigy. He began playing at the age of 7 and soon mastered the instrument, long before he reached his teens. Thanks to his skill, Jacob won numerous awards in Ohio, eventually being named the Ohio State Fiddle Grand Champion. However, the boys hardly had time to enjoy activities outside of the family band. No one could have foreseen what was about to happen. In the early 2000s, a television show called Wife Swap was gaining popularity, and finally, at the request of their children in 2008, Kathy and Tim Stockdale made the decision to participate in the show, never imagining that this decision would trigger a series of events that would end in the brutal murder. Although Kathy and Tim were initially reluctant to participate in the show, all 4 children were very excited about the opportunity, and in the end, the family decided it could be an interesting and somewhat adventurous experience. When the producers of Wife Swap discovered the strict lifestyle of the Stockdale family, they knew they had found a gem for the show. They decided to contrast them with the Tonkovich family from Illinois, who represented the opposite in every way. Lori Tonkovich allowed her children to live without restraint. They got up at whatever time they wanted, dressed however they felt like, and ate mostly fast food. However, as she traded places with Kathy Stockdale, she was shocked and devastated by the strict discipline of the household. The routine was rigorous. The boys had to get up at 7:30 a.m. and had only 4 minutes to get to the breakfast table. If they failed to make it, they were docked 25 cents. The rest of the day was spent completing various chores on the farm and in the house. During the program, Lori was deeply moved by the conditions in which the children were living. Crying, she exclaimed, "God, I feel so sad for these kids. I want to take them all home." Lori wanted to make a positive difference in the children's lives, so she decided to introduce television and video games, things they had not had and enjoyed in their childhood. But the indoctrination in the Stockdale family ran deep, and when Lori suggested that Jacob watch some TV, he burst into tears and ran away. Lori followed him and asked him what was wrong, and Jacob's response was as shocking as it was heartbreaking. "I'm going to hell for watching TV." Although Lori tried to change the children's perspective, their beliefs remained firmly entrenched. The presence of Tim, who reinforced Kathy's rules, did little to help. In the end, Kathy and Lori had very different views on parenting. The wife swap in 2008 did not seem to cause significant changes, at least at first glance. Over time, the children began to build their own paths. When the 2 older sons came of age and moved away from the Stockdale estate, they officially left the band, although they continued to play music with the family whenever they returned home. The older brother, Calvin, works at Hillsdale College, a liberal arts college located in south central Michigan. The second brother, Charles, was studying medicine in Philadelphia. The boys did not choose to attend colleges in Ohio. Instead, they traveled thousands of miles, which seemed to indicate they were trying to escape something or someone. This meant that by 2017, only Jacob, 26, and James, 21, were still living with their parents. Although they were old enough to leave, it is curious to think why they decided to stay in the house. The explanation for James was clear. He was studying business at a nearby university and dreamed of one day managing the family band. As for Jacob, however, one wonders why he didn't decide to go his own way. Although the Stockdale band continued as a trio, without Calvin and Charles's involvement, it continued to play at events around the state, gaining a loyal fan base and recording a few albums. But beyond that, there didn't seem to be a concrete reason for Jacob to remain in that small coastal town. On June 15, 2017, at 4:36, Stark County Police received a 911 call, but the caller abruptly hung up before providing details. This prompted authorities to head to the Stockdale residence, the origin of the call, to investigate. Upon arrival, they heard a loud bang coming from inside the house, so they rushed inside. That's when they found Jacob, who had a shotgun wound to the head. Although he was still alive, his condition was serious, and the presence of the gun near him suggested that the wound was probably self-inflicted. The police continued their search of the house, and upon going upstairs, found the bodies of Kathy and James in the bathroom, dead on the floor, with horrific wounds from shotgun pellets. Fortunately, Tim, the father of the family, was not there at the time of the tragedy. The only logical explanation for what had happened was that Jacob had murdered his mother and brother before attempting to take his own life. However, his self-inflicted gunshot wound would require immediate medical attention. He lost sight in one eye and suffered severe brain injuries that cast doubt on whether he would be fit to stand trial. The police decided not to move forward with the prosecution until he was fully recovered. Finally, on September 26, 2018, Stark County Police charged Jacob with 2 counts of first-degree murder and set bail at $1 million. On October 9th, his attorney filed a motion to evaluate his mental competency. Jacob pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity and was sent to Heartland Behavioral Health Mental Health Hospital for observation. Jacob spent more than a year at the facility, where doctors attempted to assess his mental competency. They conducted mock trials using legal terminology to determine whether he understood the workings of the court system. After the arrival of the unexpected pandemic, the whole process came to a standstill. Only in 2020 did he appear in court, but refused to testify and answer. It is not known if because he was confused, if it was a tactic advised by his lawyer, or he was overwhelmed by so much technology around him since it was done through a video call. Let's remember that the children never had access to a computer. A trial date was set for December 31st, 2020, and on April 28th, 2021, nearly 4 years after murdering members of his family in cold blood, Jacob pleaded guilty to both murders and was sentenced to 15 years for each. Jacob will serve probation in 2048. The motive behind the crime is still unclear, and there are several theories that attempt to explain why Jacob decided to end the lives of his mother and brother. Some psychologists have theorized that Kathy may have suffered from severe obsessive-compulsive disorder, calculated in the strict way she regulated her children's daily routines. Her rigorous control over the family's diet could also be an indication of this diagnosis, as Kathy never allowed herself to deviate from her dietary rules. And if the family went out, they never ate at a restaurant. Instead, Kathy prepared large takeout meals. Kathy was very committed to organic eating and a natural lifestyle. There has been speculation that Jacob may have developed some mental disorder, perhaps even OCD inherited from his mother, which would have been exacerbated by his life of isolation. Kathy firmly believed that leisure and fun were sins, which further reinforced the rigid environment in which her children grew up. There are 2 possible explanations. The first is that Jacob was filled with anger and sought revenge for the perceived abuse he suffered at the hands of his mother. The second theory suggests that he simply wanted to escape, and not wanting his brother to go through the same experience, he decided to kill him as well. We will never know what really went through her mind that night, but what is clear is that Behind the facade of a seemingly happy family, dark secrets are hidden that, in an instant, transform into an inexplicable tragedy for many. If you think justice has been done, don't forget to like us and activate the little bell so you don't miss any other case. See you next time.